Hi, hi guys. Welcome to my niece TV. I'm Denise, and my partner in crime is Mary. Mary, say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so tonight we're here to recap Underground season 2, episode 4. And unfortunately, Mary didn't get to watch the episode.
I'm a slacker.
Yes, she is slacking. But I'm just gonna go ahead and recap it for you guys, and Mary will interject whenever she
Yeah.
feels necessary.
Something like, oh, snap. Things like that.
Lord. Okay. So the episode starts off with Daniel, Bokeem Woodbine's character, and one of the other slaves from another plant, I believe it's another plantation, comes over and he wants him to read a letter for him. And he's like, look, he's nervous because the master is about to come out. And he's like, okay, okay, finally he concedes and does it. And so when he reads the letter, it's a letter stating that a lot of the slave masters are afraid of what's going on with the slaves running away, and with what's going on in this right then, they're going to send a lot of their slaves south. So yeah, so he's like, that's a bad thing. But I did like what Daniel said to the guy. He told him, he asked if Daniel would teach him to read, and he was like, man, you really don't want this, because this is a curse. He like, reading is a curse because it alerts you to how intelligent and how smart the slave masters are, the people who have us, because they know if we withhold knowledge from them or knowledge from the slaves, they won't ever be able to, get themselves, they won't even know or desire freedom because they just are so low.
Yeah. That's heavy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so, I've been waiting for his character, for us to kind of figure out where Daniel fits in all of this. Each episode, we saw his progression with him teaching himself to read, him having the conversation with his, I don't know if they were betrothed or his wife. And he was telling her, that he wrote down love, and he gave the note to her a few episodes back, and basically told her, this is how I feel about you. And she basically summed up how a lot of Black slaves felt regarding learning how to read. They were afraid. She was like, I want to keep the letter forever, but then she rips it up. And she kind of lets him know this could get us killed. Wow. And that was the tone, because they knew knowledge was power. And so I'm just waiting to see if Daniel is going to be an abolitionist, if he's going to actually or be a teacher, and help the enslaved learn how to read, and so they can achieve freedom, especially when he was reading to his daughter in the previous episode, and he was telling her the Ain't I a Woman speech. He read it to her, and she's like, oh, Black folks up there talking like that. And so it just lets you know that there are people who are doing things that you don't know about because you can't read about it. Or they withhold you from reaching out to your peers or sending out a mass letter like, hey, let's get together and organize. Okay, so moving along to the sewing circle. Now, I know I'm skipping Kato and Noah, but I kind of want to talk about them at the end because their journey was like through the whole episode, and these other characters were just like a short little insert. So the sewing circle were having a meeting, and they were discussing how they are we're going to try to talk to different people and try to get, you know, the white people and the black people together to realize slavery is bad. And they were talking to, oh my God, I forgot his name and I didn't write it down. But there was a guy there, and he they were talking about the vote. And so he and Elizabeth went to the voting booth, and he destroyed the voting booths to try to, you know, send a message to the people that they're not going to stand for you putting in another mayor or governor or political figure who is racist and all about slavery and keeping things the way they are. So he Elizabeth, I really like this moment when they're after he's destroyed the booth, and she asked him if there were people there, would he have done the same thing? And he's like, yes. And she asked him, why is he so passionate about wanting to free slaves? And so he tells her this story, and I'm all into it, and she's all into it. And he's talking about how he saw this guy beaten and locked into a cage as punishment, and he starved, and his child was crying. And he said to say he was crying, you know what, I forgot the exact wording he used, but it was like an understatement, or maybe he did say it was an understatement. And so he was like, I wanted to feed him, and you know, I wanted to do something to help him. And then she's like, okay, so in the end, did you? And he was like, no, because that person doesn't exist. And I'm like, what? What? But what he says was so powerful after that. He's like, why do I need to have a reason, have some big, deep seated reason why I want to help free slaves? Slavery is bad, and that's all I need to know.
Come on.
So I was like, yes, all right.
Man, I really want to watch this episode.
Yeah, it was really good. And so back, we'll just jump back to Rosalie comes home. She finally made it, so the horse knew the way.
After the snake and the bear. Lord Jesus.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh,
last week was just too much for Rosalie's character. But as we see, she gets home to safety and is reunited with her sisters and her family, which the only person she has left now is Elizabeth.
Oh, that's right.
And Ernestine wasn't in this episode, and I kind of missed her because I really wanted to know more about what was happening with her recovery.
Yeah.
And I know this is a little bit off topic, but we had a lot of laughing going on last week, and we missed a lot about Ernestine.
Yeah.
And, like, I know her reasoning for using those drugs is because she wants to, it's her only way to feel close to her family because, as we know, the baby's been sold off. Her son is dead. Her first husband or baby's father, I don't know what they had. He's dead. And so she doesn't have any family and she feels alone. And so, I mean, I could see why she kept taking those drugs to kind of have just a moment's peace. But like I said, I really hope to see her heal in the next episode. She wasn't in this episode, so I'm like all off topic with that. But yeah, I missed her. So anyway, moving along to Kato and Noah. So right up at the beginning after Daniel, we see that Noah is with Kato, and he's taking him out to basically dinner, or well, you know what, let me start here. Kato made his way to London, and we find out that, you know, he had that money from he's had come into all this money, and he's safely in London living the dream life. He's walking in free. He has a woman that he is smitten with. Even though we knew back in season 1 that he had a wife and child that he said he wanted his freedom for. He wanted to get back to them and, you know, find them and be a family. And so in Noah and Kato, actually, you know, they have a face-off where he's talking about that moment. He's like, yeah, you know, you're here, you living this life with this woman, and you're you know, you forgot about your family and what you set out to do in the beginning. He's like, no, the last time we saw Kato was about to be killed, about to be captured and killed by the slave catchers, and Noah got away. He threw him a knife and kept running. So Kato kind of feels some kind of way about that. And so he's like, you know, you left me for dead. And he's like, no, he's like, I left you a weapon to try to defend yourself because I felt sorry for you.
Wow.
Like, these two guys shading each other was man. But I really felt where Noah was coming from. He's like, look, you done settled into this cushy life, you know, and you got a new woman, not even the woman you set out to go find, and we don't even find out what happened to her, if he, you know, even tried to find her, or what, you know, or what happened with that. But, you know, he's just comfortable, basically. And so they're going through, it's actually kind of like flashbacks in present day. So then they show him, or, you know, I don't know. It looked like it was flashbacks in present day, but not too much time has passed in between those. And so he's talking with it shows the progression of his relationship with this woman, and she's like, you know, telling him, he gets into a fight with this guy over her because he feels like this white man has disrespected her. And so he tells him, well, after he beats him up, then he's talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, you know, he was harming you, or you were in danger. And she's like, no, he was just talking stuff, you know, and I wasn't in any danger, and you didn't need to do this to prove anything. And he's like, no, you know, of course he has a chip on his shoulder because of slavery and everything.
Right.
So then, which is warranted. Okay.
Yeah.
So they get into this argument about him not showing her who he really is, which I kind of think they were a little bit toxic for each other, if I can say. But she's telling him she wants to get to know who he really is, and he's like, I don't remember you complaining when I was buying you all these fancy jewels and all of this. and she takes off her earrings and throws them in the street.
Okay, then.
Like, I want to know you. But then she gets him involved in this fighting ring, and I'm like, how is this beneficial? You know, she's like, fight out the rage. But I'm just like confused. So that's why I said they were a little bit toxic. Yeah. And so one night he's fighting, and you know, he's really getting into it, turning into that tapping into his animalistic side. And then basically they try to fix the fight. So the white guy was going down, but they gave him looks like some either brass knuckles or something, whatever the equivalent back in that time would have been, and he hits him and knocks him out. And in that time, you kind of see the wheels turning and him processing, you know, and then later on we see what that epiphany was. You know, he was thinking, like, how did I get here? Why am I here? This was not what, you know, what I set out to do. I don't believe this is my calling. And then we see that he leaves her.
Wow.
And he is now helping slaves to freedom. But before that moment, before that is revealed to us, he has a group of slaves, and he tells Noah, I want to see the man you truly are. And this stems back to their conversation that they were having about him leaving him, and, you know. And so he tells him, you know, if you go back south, then I will I'll pay for all of these slaves' freedom. Wow. And it was like 12 women, men, and children, you know. And he's like, if you just give yourself a go back, you know, then I'll free all of them. And Noah, I just knew he was about to go, like, and say, yes, you know, I'll go back to save all of them. Man. But then no, he says no. Wow. He's like, when is it gonna be my turn? It's like, it shows.
Yeah, that's heavy though.
I was like, but then we see that they're already on their way to Canada, and he had already saved them, and he was just testing Noah. And then Noah goes in to talk to, oh my God, I can't remember his name because he was from season 1. But he was one of the abolitionists that were first working with John, and teaching them how to work the Underground Railroad. And so he talks to Noah, and then they're all gonna be working together. Well, that's what it looks like. They're all gonna be working together to help free the slaves. I mean, I thought it was a really great episode. It was a bit slower pace. Well, I don't know if it was slower pace, but less devastating.
It was less intense.
It was kind of like a romance in the midst of it, and they kind of slowed it down. So slower pace as well. And I really like that, how they slowed it down to tell his love story with her. And show, you know, the softer side of Kato, and you know, and that he could be this guy who's in love with a woman. Like, it was really nice and romantic, but in the end he had to get back to business and free these slaves. So what'd you think about what I said, Mary?
I loved this recap. I feel like I need to watch the show now. I was transfixed the whole time. 10 out of 10, Denise. It was great.
Well, guys, if you liked our recap, thumbs up. If you want more videos, subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye. See you next time.